LeBron's exit may have been planned all along. LeBron James may have engineered one of the most calculated exits the NBA has ever seen, and the timing has left the league asking one question. Was this goodbye decided long before anyone knew? LeBron informed the Los Angeles Lakers that they could move forward without him, ending an 8-year partnership that produced a championship, historic records, and a defining era in franchise history. But the shocking part was not simply that he was leaving. It was what happened 24 hours earlier. On June 29, the Lakers guaranteed Bronny James a $2.3 million contract for the upcoming season. The team could have waived him and created more flexibility, but instead, it committed to the deal. Then, almost exactly one day later, Rich Paul contacted general manager Rob Pelinka with a calm message. The franchise could continue without LeBron. No public trade demand, no emotional press conference, no dramatic confrontation, just one sentence, and suddenly the Lakers were staring at the end of an era. That sequence immediately fueled speculation. Some fans believed the timing was a coincidence. Others saw a veteran superstar securing his son's future before closing the door behind him. Patrick Beverley appeared impressed by the business strategy, while fans compared the moment to the biggest decisions of LeBron's career. Behind the respectful farewell, reports suggested a deeper disagreement. LeBron's camp and the Lakers may no longer have shared the same vision for competing for another championship. Even more surprising, Los Angeles reportedly never placed a formal offer in front of him before free agency. Now, Cleveland, Golden State, Miami, and other contenders are watching. One decision could send LeBron home, pair him with Stephen Curry, or create a destination nobody sees coming. So, where are you watching from? And where should LeBron go next? Comment 1 for Cleveland or 2 for Golden State. Subscribe now, because this story is only getting started. The quiet breakup behind the headline. The loudest part of LeBron James leaving Los Angeles may be how quietly the relationship ended. There was no public war, no angry press conference, and no trade request designed to force the Lakers into action. Rich Paul delivered a controlled message. LeBron planned to continue his career somewhere else, and Los Angeles was free to move forward without him. That calm tone made the situation more revealing. After 8 seasons together, neither side appeared interested in creating one final negotiation for the camera. The separation may not have been caused by one emotional conversation. It may have been the result of 2 sides slowly accepting that their priorities no longer met. LeBron still wanted a realistic path toward another championship. The Lakers, now centered on Luka Dončić, needed flexibility and a longer timeline. Those goals were not impossible to combine, but they required urgency, sacrifice, and trust. By the end, there may not have been enough of any of them. That is why this exit feels different from LeBron's previous departures. Cleveland in 2010 was explosive. Miami in 2014 was historic. Cleveland again in 2018 was expected. Los Angeles in 2026 feels almost businesslike, a legendary partnership reaching its expiration date without either side pretending otherwise. But respectful does not mean painless. The Lakers are losing more than production. They are losing the player who controlled the temperature of the building, carried championship expectations, and made every game feel nationally important. LeBron leaves with Luka ready to take over, but also with a leadership vacuum no single signing can automatically fill. The goodbye may look peaceful. Behind it sits a harder truth. Sometimes an era ends not because of one betrayal, but because both sides stop believing in the same future. The Bronny timeline changes everything. Then came the detail that transformed a normal free agency story into a full NBA mystery. Before LeBron's departure became public, Bronny James' contract for the 2026-27 season became fully guaranteed at roughly $2.3 million. The Lakers could have created a little more flexibility by moving on, but instead they kept Bronny under contract. Soon afterward, LeBron's camp informed the team that he would play elsewhere. That sequence does not prove a secret agreement existed, and it does not prove LeBron forced the Lakers to guarantee anything. But in a league where timing is examined almost as closely as talent, the order of events became impossible to ignore. Some fans saw a father protecting his son before making the final move of his own career. Others argued that Bronny earned another season independently and that Los Angeles simply made a basketball decision. Both explanations can exist without turning speculation into fact. Still, the symbolism is powerful. LeBron arrived in Los Angeles, chasing championships and a new chapter for his family. He won a title, broke the NBA scoring record in a Lakers uniform, and eventually shared an NBA court with his oldest son. By the time he prepared to leave, Bronny's immediate future in Los Angeles was secure. Patrick Beverley viewed the timeline through the hard logic of professional sports. Family first, business second, emotion later. Whether that interpretation is correct or not, it explains why the story spread so quickly. Now Bronny remains in Los Angeles while LeBron searches for another team. Bronny can develop without every possession being framed around his father, while LeBron can choose a destination around the final competitive goals of his career. The timing created suspicion. The future may reveal something more meaningful. This was not only the end of LeBron's Lakers chapter, it may also be the moment Bronny's individual NBA story truly began. Luka Dončić inherits the Lakers. The moment LeBron walked away, the Lakers stopped being a shared kingdom. This is Luka Dončić's franchise now. Los Angeles brought Luka into an environment LeBron helped define. Massive expectations, non-stop national coverage, and a championship standard that does not accept patience as an excuse. For a brief period, fans imagined the two stars building something historic together. LeBron could manage the biggest moments while Luka gradually became the center of the offense. That transition has now accelerated overnight. Every roster decision will be measured by one question. Does this help the Lakers maximize Luka's prime? The front office can no longer build two timelines at once. It must surround him with defense, shooting, athleticism, and players capable of surviving playoff pressure. The opportunity is enormous, but so is the burden. LeBron absorbed criticism that might otherwise have reached teammates, coaches, and executives. When the Lakers lost, the conversation usually began with him. Luka now inherits that spotlight without the protection of one of the most experienced leaders in league history. Talent will not be the concern. Luka can control playoff games, manipulate defenses, and create elite offense against almost any coverage. The real test will be leadership over an entire season. Can he keep the locker room connected during losing stretches? Can he turn individual brilliance into a sustainable championship culture? Los Angeles also needs another major piece. A roster built around Luka cannot depend on him creating every advantage. The Lakers need defenders who can cover space, finishers who punish double teams, and another scorer who can stabilize the offense when he rests. LeBron's departure gives the Lakers freedom. It also removes their final excuse. They have their new centerpiece in a clear direction. Now, Rob Pelinka must prove the organization can build a contender around Luka instead of simply celebrating that it has him. The crown has changed hands. What Luka does with it will define the next era in Los Angeles. Cleveland offers more than a homecoming. Cleveland is not merely the sentimental choice. It may be the destination that gives LeBron the clearest ending. A third Cavaliers chapter would bring his career full circle. He was born in Ohio, became a phenomenon there, left under national controversy, returned to deliver the city's first NBA championship, and could now come back one final time without needing to rescue the franchise. That last detail matters. This Cleveland team would not require LeBron to carry every possession or repair a broken culture. The Cavaliers already have established talent and players capable of handling major offensive responsibility. LeBron could become the connector rather than the entire system, the veteran who organizes late-game possessions, punishes mismatches, and steadies teammates when playoff pressure rises. Charles Barkley's argument was built around that logic. Returning home would not look like LeBron desperately chasing another ring. It would look like a legendary player choosing the place where his presence carries the deepest meaning. But the fit would still require discipline. Cleveland would need to protect spacing, manage LeBron's minutes, and avoid turning the offense into a farewell tour. The current stars would have to maintain their authority instead of waiting for LeBron to solve every difficult moment. He would need to accept that leadership at this stage may mean controlling less of the game while influencing more of the team. That could be exactly what makes the move dangerous for the East. A rested LeBron entering the postseason as a secondary creator is different from a LeBron forced to dominate every night. His size, passing, and ability to recognize defensive mistakes remain valuable even when his role changes. No other fan base can celebrate LeBron's final years with the same history behind it. Cleveland remembers the departure, the return, the championship, and everything between. The question is whether LeBron wants his final chapter to feel like a homecoming or one last adventure nobody expects. The Warriors' dream could shake the league. If Cleveland represents the perfect ending, Golden State represents the impossible dream. LeBron James and Stephen Curry spent years defining opposite sides of the NBA's biggest rivalry. They met in 4 consecutive finals and shaped how an entire generation understood greatness. LeBron overwhelmed defenses with power and control, while Curry stretched the court until traditional basketball geometry stopped making sense. Now imagine them on the same side. Their chemistry during the Paris Olympics showed why the idea refuses to disappear. Curry's movement creates space before he touches the ball. LeBron sees passing windows before most defenders realize they are open. One bends the defense with shooting, the other breaks it with force and decision-making. On paper, the combination is beautiful. In reality, Golden State would have to solve difficult financial and roster questions. The Warriors cannot build a championship team from reputation alone. Curry is older, Key veterans have significant mileage, and the roster needs enough defense, size, and health to survive the Western Conference. LeBron would also have to accept a different balance of power. This would still be Curry's city and Curry's system. The appeal comes from combining their intelligence, not forcing one superstar to disappear behind the other. Shaquille O'Neal understood the entertainment value immediately. LeBron and Curry together would become the league's biggest nightly attraction. Every road game would feel like an event, but spectacle and contention are not automatically the same thing. Golden State would need younger legs, reliable perimeter defense, and a plan for the nights when neither legend can carry a heavy workload. Steve Kerr would have to manage minutes, roles, and expectations while protecting both stars. If it worked, the Warriors would become one of the most fascinating teams ever assembled. If it failed, critics would call it a nostalgia project built several years too late. That risk is why the possibility feels irresistible. Cleveland offers belonging. Golden State offers one final experiment capable of changing how LeBron's career is remembered. Every contender is recalculated. LeBron does not need to sign with a team to change the league. His availability has already forced front offices to reconsider everything. A contender that believed its roster was finished must now ask whether one veteran addition could transform its postseason ceiling. A team with limited flexibility must decide whether to preserve depth or sacrifice pieces for a player who can still control the most important minutes of a playoff game. Miami carries obvious history. LeBron understands the Heat's culture, Eric Spoelstra's standards, and the pressure that comes with playing for Pat Riley. A reunion would be emotional, but Miami would need enough offense and size around him to make the move more than a celebration of the past. Philadelphia could offer star power and an aggressive market, although health, fit, and roster balance would shape the real championship argument. Minnesota presents another possibility. Defensive talent, younger legs, and a chance for LeBron to operate as a veteran organizer rather than the center of every possession. Then there are the surprise teams. LeBron's next move may depend less on market size than on control, trust, and postseason readiness. He does not have time for a long rebuild. The winning team must present a believable plan for May and June, not simply an attractive introductory press conference. The harder challenge is convincing LeBron that the organization can protect his body, define his role, and remain stable when expectations become overwhelming. His presence changes more than basketball. National attention follows, young players receive a daily lesson in preparation, but every practice also becomes news. Coaches gain an elite strategist while accepting that every decision will be examined. Signing LeBron is not adding a normal veteran. It is accepting an entire ecosystem of pressure, opportunity, history, and urgency. For the right contender, that weight could produce a championship run. For the wrong one, it could expose every weakness before the season reaches its midpoint. What the Lakers era really meant, LeBron's time in Los Angeles will always create two completely different arguments. One side will remember the missed opportunities. 8 seasons with one of the greatest players ever produced only one championship. Injuries disrupted multiple campaigns. The Russell Westbrook experiment damaged roster balance and forced the organization into years of correction. Coaches changed, supporting cast turned over, and several seasons ended before the Lakers looked capable of reaching their ceiling. From that perspective, Los Angeles did not maximize LeBron's final elite years. The other side will remember what actually happened. LeBron chose the Lakers when the franchise was struggling to restore its identity. He helped attract Anthony Davis, delivered the 2020 championship, became the NBA's all-time scoring leader in Los Angeles, and created history by sharing the court with Bronny. Those are not minor accomplishments, they are franchise-defining moments. The truth sits somewhere between celebration and disappointment. The partnership succeeded, but not as consistently as either side imagined. LeBron gave the Lakers relevance, a championship, an unforgettable milestone. The Lakers gave LeBron a global stage, another title, and the setting for achievements that extended beyond basketball. Timing was the constant enemy. When the roster looked right, health often failed. When LeBron and Davis were available, the supporting cast was not always strong enough. By the time Luka Dončić arrived, LeBron was already approaching the final stretch of his career. That is why the ending should not be reduced to blame. Championship windows are fragile. Great players age. Front offices make mistakes. Rivals improve. A move that appears brilliant in July can become impossible by April. LeBron's Los Angeles legacy will remain complicated, which may be appropriate. He arrived as an established icon and added a distinct chapter to a franchise already crowded with legends. He brought the Lakers back to the top once, changed the record book, and left the organization in the hands of another generational star. The era was imperfect. It was also historic. 3 paths, 3 completely different legacies. LeBron James is no longer choosing only between teams. He is choosing how the final chapter of his career will be remembered. The first path is the homecoming. A return to Cleveland would create the most emotional ending imaginable. LeBron was born in Ohio, became a superstar in a Cavaliers uniform, left under enormous controversy, returned to deliver the city's first NBA championship, and can now come back one final time to finish the journey where it started. This time, however, Cleveland would not need him to save the franchise. The Cavaliers already have an established foundation, younger legs, defensive talent, and players capable of carrying the offense during the regular season. LeBron could become the experienced connector rather than the entire system. He could control late-game possessions, punish defensive mistakes, guide younger teammates through playoff pressure, and preserve his body for the moments that matter most. That may be the smartest role available to him. But Cleveland would also bring enormous emotional expectations. Every home game would feel like part of a farewell tour. Every playoff loss would become a debate about whether the reunion was the right decision. The organization would have to balance celebration with competition, making sure the season remained focused on winning rather than simply honoring LeBron's legacy. The second path is the dream partnership. Joining Golden State would create one of the most watched teams in basketball history. LeBron and Stephen Curry spent years competing against each other on the sport's biggest stage. Their rivalry shaped an era, divided fan bases, and produced unforgettable finals battles. Now imagine them trying to win together. Curry's shooting and movement would create space LeBron has rarely experienced. LeBron's passing and physical pressure could generate open looks for Curry before defenses even understood what was happening. Their chemistry on the international stage already showed how naturally their games can connect, but the Warriors option also carries the greatest risk. Both stars are deep into their careers. Golden State would need enough defense, depth, health, and athleticism to survive the Western Conference. If the roster became too old or too dependent on its biggest names, the experiment could collapse under the weight of expectations. If it worked, the result could be legendary. If it failed, critics would call it a nostalgia project created several years too late. The third path is the surprise destination. Miami, Minnesota, Philadelphia, or another contender could offer a cleaner basketball fit than either Cleveland or Golden State. A less obvious team might provide better defense, more reliable depth, and a role that allows LeBron to influence games without carrying the entire organization. That option would not have the emotional power of Cleveland or the global excitement of Golden State, but it could give him the most realistic championship opportunity. Each destination represents a different priority. Cleveland offers belonging and closure. Golden State offers spectacle and one final historic partnership. A surprise contender offers strategy, balance, and the possibility of changing the league without following the expected script. LeBron could also choose to wait. He does not need to make a decision simply because fans, television networks, and front offices want an immediate answer. The market could change. A trade could open a new opportunity. A contender could suddenly create financial flexibility. Another star could become available and completely reshape the landscape. But waiting comes with danger. Roster spots disappear. Teams spend their money. Contenders commit to other players. The longer LeBron waits, the fewer realistic options may remain. That is why this decision may ultimately come down to trust. LeBron needs an organization that can protect his body, clearly define his role, and remain stable when pressure rises. He needs teammates who do not expect him to perform like he is still 28 years old. His final team does not need the biggest headline. It needs the clearest plan. Because when LeBron finally chooses, he will not simply change one roster. He could shift the balance of power across the entire NBA and decide whether the ending of his career feels like a homecoming, one final revolution, or a surprise nobody saw coming. The final decision is about more than a ring. LeBron James's next move will be judged through championships, but the smartest decision must go deeper than counting trophies. Strategically, Cleveland appears to offer the strongest blend of role, emotion, and competitive structure. LeBron would not need to dominate every possession, and the Cavaliers could use his intelligence as a late-game weapon. Golden State offers the highest entertainment ceiling and perhaps the most fascinating partnership, but it also carries greater concerns about age, depth, health, and defensive balance. Other contenders may offer cleaner fits, although none can match Cleveland's history or the Warriors' global impact. The central lesson is simple. The biggest name is not always the best destination. Fit matters, trust matters, a clear role matters. At this stage, LeBron needs teammates who can carry regular season responsibility and an organization that will not ask him to solve every problem. The Lakers face a similar lesson. Moving into the Luka Dončić era cannot mean searching for another superstar headline without building a complete team. Los Angeles needs defense, shooting, toughness, and continuity. Luka must lead, but leadership should not mean carrying an unstable organization alone. There is also a human lesson behind the business. LeBron's quiet departure shows that not every ending requires public hostility. Two sides can appreciate what they built and still recognize that their futures have separated. Fans can debate mistakes without erasing a championship. Players can choose new opportunities without treating former teammates as enemies. Sports are filled with change. Loyalty should include honesty, respect, and gratitude, not the demand that every relationship last forever. Wherever LeBron goes, his final chapter should not be measured only by whether he wins another ring. It should be measured by whether the team uses his remaining greatness wisely, whether younger players improve around him, and whether the ending reflects the discipline that defined his career. Now, the decision belongs to him, and the entire NBA is watching. Where are you watching from? Comment 1 for Cleveland, 2 for Golden State, 3 for Miami, or 4 for a surprise team. Subscribe, like this video, and share it with another NBA fan so they can join the debate.